Hi, today I'll be walking you through how ontology-based agentic AI creates a semantic layer between a language model and enterprise data, enabling AI agents to better understand, reason, and act on business information using a real-world banking scenario. Here's what we'll do. We'll use Synoptix AI search, guided by an ontology, and powered by Claude Sonnet 4.6. We are intentionally not using the latest model because the model alone is not what defines the quality of the outcome. When an agent knows what information it needs, where to find it, and how to interpret it, it can deliver more consistent and accurate answers while operating at a fraction of the cost. To make this realistic, the dataset is deliberately messy. It contains duplicates, redundant information, and contradictory records because that's what real world data looks like. We start with the taxonomy. Think of taxonomy as a Google map for the agent, containing over 3,000 concepts, over 34 domains. It provides a common understanding of how your bank defines information and helps the agent navigate across your enterprise data. Let's have a look at an example. Under home loan and mortgages, if I expand that and I click on investment home loan, notice the alternate names captured for this concept. Your core banking might label it as investment home loan, while a broker file might simply refer to it as IHL. These aliases are captured within the taxonomy, allowing the agent to recognize that they all refer to the same product, regardless of how it is represented across different systems. You can also add definitions. The taxonomies can also support multilingual vocabularies as well. For example, here, we've got Japanese selected. And if I want to add an alternate name, I can just copy paste, and that's it. This means the same business concept can be correctly identified and understood regardless of the language or system where it appears. Now let's go to ontologies. So taxonomies define the meanings and ontologies connect that meaning to your actual data. On the ontologies page, each business division builds and manages its own ontologies. Let's open the investment home loan. This is where it all comes together. 2 data sources, 19 databases, 250 plus tables, 2,800 columns, all mapped to business definitions and terms from taxonomies, giving a score of 98% semantic coverage, which means almost everything in the data source is tied to a business definition. And here you can see data sources, including SharePoint and Teradata. SharePoint holds supporting policy documents mapped to latest taxonomies and given an authority score of 5. This tells the agent which source to trust when there is a disagreement. The same way a credit analyst weighs the core ledger against a working document. Teradata carries the operational loan data, and hence the authority score is set at 10. From here, you can open the schema graph, the ontology graph, ER diagrams, and entity mapping, and visually explore how every column ties back to business terms and definitions. Now, the test. So back to application. Let's test how this all works. First, we turn on Teradata connection and try a prompt. Count all active mortgage loans that are current, not delinquent, and have an associated approved credit decision. Also produce a separate exception report identifying mortgages with inconsistent or conflicting data. Now watch this panel in the middle. This is the agent thinking out loud at every step on the record. First, it grounds the question. It does not start writing a SQL. It works out which banking entities the question actually needs and identifies loan as the core table and credit assessments to verify the approved decisions. The ontology already knows these entities and how they relate, so the agent is not discovering the schema, it is applying knowledge it already holds. Then it reframes the business question into a precise logic. Active home loan records, at least one approved credit decision. It is not guessing where to look. It is following the map Ontology already gave it. The next is the tools. You can see it moves through the data in order. List the database, list the tables, read the column description, preview the data, and run the query. It also scores its own answers across corroboration, source authority or recency, freshness scores, data completeness or data lineage. High confidence with the reasoning behind each number is visible. In banking, that is the difference between an answer that looks right and an answer you can put in front of a regulator. Now let's talk about economics. The entire run, the grounding, the schema walk, the query, and the exception report came in at just about 6,000 tokens. A latest generation model reasoning through the same questions with no semantic layer burns about 10 times more tokens just working out what the data means. Because in Synoptix, the agent is not guessing where to look and how the data relates, the result is more consistent, fully explainable, and far more cost efficient. That is ontology-based agentic AI.